In the heart of Transylvania, a fortress rises from the mist, perched on a 200-foot cliff. Its silhouette against the Romanian sky is instantly recognizable. This is Bran Castle, and for millions around the world, it is the home of Count Dracula. It's the physical embodiment of the world's most famous vampire, a Gothic icon born from Bram Stoker's chilling novel. But here's the shocking truth. This image, the one that draws countless tourists, is a deliberate and incredibly successful illusion. The real history of this magnificent castle has almost nothing to do with the vampire legend. What's more, its connection to the real-life monster who inspired the story, Vlad the Impaler, is so thin, it has practically non-existent. So, how did one of Europe's most beautiful royal residences become forever tied to one of history's most brutal dictators? To understand this, we first need to confront the terrifying man behind the myth. The fictional Count Dracula owes his name and gruesome vitality to a real historical figure, Vlad III, who ruled the region of Wallachia in the mid-15th century. His name, Dracula, means son of the dragon, a title inherited from his father's membership in the Order of the Dragon, a military group defending Christianity against the Ottoman Empire. Vlad's reign was defined by two things: a relentless drive to consolidate power and an almost theatrical cruelty. He understood that terror was a more powerful weapon than any army, and his method of choice earned him his infamous nickname. He wasn't just a killer. He was an artist of slow, agonizing death. His preferred method was impalement, where victims were slowly forced onto sharp wooden stakes, then raised upright, left to die over hours, sometimes even days. The historical accounts of his actions are the stuff of nightmares. When he first took power, he invited hundreds of nobles he suspected of disloyalty to a grand feast. After the meal, he had the older ones impaled on the spot. The younger ones were forced to march until their clothes rotted off their bodies, all the way to a remote mountain where they were forced to build his new fortress, Poenari Citadel. In another famous incident, when Ottoman ambassadors refused to remove their turbans in his presence, Vlad had their turbans nailed directly to their heads, claiming he was simply affirming their tradition. But his most legendary act of horror came when the Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed II, marched his army toward Vlad's capital. Instead of a battle, the Sultan found something far more disturbing. For miles, the landscape was lined with an estimated 20,000 impaled Turkish prisoners, their bodies left to rot. This forest of the impaled was so psychologically devastating that the mighty Sultan and his powerful army turned back and retreated. This is the real, documented horror that underpins the Dracula myth. Vlad's actual, blood-soaked residencies were the court at Târgoviște and net remote, mountain fortress, Poenari Citadel. These are the true sites of the Now, let's turn back to Bran Castle, a breathtaking structure with almost no genuine connection to this reign of terror. Bran Castle wasn't built for a prince. It was constructed in the 14th century by German settlers, primarily as a customs post and a fortress to defend a vital mountain pass. For centuries, its main job was defensive and financial, collecting taxes on goods. It was a glorified toll booth, not a vampire's lair. So, what about Vlad the Impaler? The historical record is clear. His connection to Bran Castle is minimal, if not completely fabricated. The strongest claim is that he was briefly imprisoned there in 1462, after a defeat. But most historians disagree, believing he was held much farther north in Hungary. The idea of him being locked up in Bran is mostly modern speculation. Vlad did lead military campaigns in the area, often raiding local villages. He certainly knew of the castle, but he saw it as an enemy outpost, not a home. To put it simply, there is not a single historical document, no letter, no treaty, no eyewitness account that proves Vlad the Impaler ever lived in, ruled from, or launched any of his horrific campaigns from Bran Castle. The castle's true, undisputed royal history is much more recent and far more charming. Its most famous resident was Queen Marie of Romania, the granddaughter of Britain's Queen Victoria. In 1920, the castle was gifted to her in recognition of her role in uniting modern Romania. She transformed the cold fortress into a warm, artistic, and beloved royal home. She installed electricity and modern plumbing, filling it with unique furniture. This was her private retreat. In a final act of devotion, her heart was even enshrined in a small chapel near the castle. This is the real spirit of Bran Castle, a symbol of royal elegance and national unity, a world away from blood and terror. So how did the lie become so absolute? We can blame one man in one book, Bram Stoker in his novel, Dracula. When Stoker wrote his masterpiece in the late 19th century, he had never even been to Romania. His vision of Dracula's castle was patched together from library books and travel guides. He described a massive fortress on a mountain pass, but his descriptions don't perfectly match Bran. In fact, they sound a lot more like the authentic, creepy ruins of Vlad's actual stronghold, Poenari Citadel. The final, decisive link between Bran Castle and Dracula was forged decades later, mostly by the Romanian tourism industry and global media. They needed a tangible, marketable location. Bran Castle was visually stunning, easily accessible, and perfectly located. It looked like the castle Stoker should have described. And with a massive commercial opportunity on the line, the myth took hold and exploded. Today, the local economy fully embraces the fiction. Every shop outside the castle sells Dracula merchandise, perpetuating a lie that has completely overshadowed the castle's true history. The global image of the brooding vampiric fortress is so powerful that telling tourists the truth is often met with disappointment. The story is now more potent, and certainly more profitable, than the facts. The ultimate irony is that Bran Castle isn't haunted by a vampire or the ghost of it is haunted by the unshakable shadow of a Victorian novelist who never even set foot in the country. So, was Bran Castle truly Dracula's home? The answer is a definitive no. It wasn't the fictional Count's home, and it almost certainly wasn't the historical Vlad the Impaler's home either. Its real legacy is one of trade, defense, and royal retreat. The persistence of the Dracula myth teaches us a valuable lesson. The legends that last are not always based on fact. They're the ones that satisfy our deep craving for darkness, drama, and sublime terror. Bran Castle is an architectural masterpiece, forever trapped between the fascinating history of a beloved queen and the profitable, terrifying lie of a vampire. And as long as the tourists keep coming, the bloodless truth will continue to lose out to the irresistible allure of the myth. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more hidden histories.